Jessica had always been the kind of person who noticed the little things. She knew when the mailman switched his route, when the neighbor's tulips began blooming, and even when the wind shifted just before a summer storm. Living alone, in her modest two-story home in a quiet, suburban neighborhood of Cedar Grove had taught her to appreciate life's small patterns. It was peaceful, predictable, and safe. Or at least that's what she thought. That Saturday morning began like any other. The air was warm for early spring, sunlight spilling through her bedroom curtains, painting golden stripes on the pale carpet. Jessica, wearing her favorite oversized t-shirt, was standing in front of her bed folding laundry. She hummed softly to herself. A cup of chamomile tea cooling on the nightstand. Her to-do list for the day was simple. Finish the laundry, water the potted plants on the porch, and maybe bake banana bread. The neighborhood was already alive with weekend sounds, a lawnmower somewhere down the block, kids on bicycles riding past, the faint yip of a small dog. Jessica had no reason to expect anything out of the ordinary. She bent over to pick up another pile of laundry when she heard the faintest click. It was subtle, the sound of her bedroom door handle turning. She froze, her hands gripping a folded sweater midair. Her first thought was that she must have forgotten to lock the front door. She lived in a safe area, but she still liked to be careful. Before she could react, the door creaked open. Standing in the doorway was a teenage boy, tall and lanky, with sandy brown hair and wide eyes that mirrored her own surprise. It took her half a second to recognize him, Caleb, the 16-year-old son of her next-door neighbors, Mark and Linda Thompson. He had been over a handful of times before, usually when he came with his parents, for a quick hello or to return something Jessica had lent them. Caleb, Jessica said, her voice sharper than she intended. He blinked rapidly as if trying to process what he had just walked into. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Miss Jessica. I didn't know, I thought. His words tumbled over themselves, his face turning a deep shade of red. Jessica instinctively pulled the sweater in her hands against her chest, not because she was exposed, she was fully dressed, but because the sudden intrusion had startled her. What are you doing here? She asked, still catching her breath. I knocked, Caleb stammered. I thought I heard you say come in. My mom sent me over to give you something. The door was unlocked, and I didn't think. Jessica exhaled, her pulse finally slowing. She could see the genuine embarrassment in his face. Okay, just give me a second. Caleb nodded frantically and backed out into the hallway, closing the door with exaggerated care. Jessica leaned against the bed for a moment, letting the reality sink in. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't malicious, just an awkward mistake. Still, it was unsettling to think someone had walked into her home and her room without warning. When she stepped out into the hallway a minute later, sweater now draped casually over her shoulder, Caleb was standing there holding a small basket wrapped in clear cellophane. My mom made muffins, he said, still avoiding direct eye contact. She said to bring them over while they're still warm. I didn't mean to scare you, Jessica softened. She had known Mark and Linda for years. They were the kind of neighbors who shoveled her driveway after a snowstorm and kept an eye on her house when she traveled. It's fine, she said gently. I guess I should have locked the door. Caleb gave a small, nervous smile. I'll tell Mom I gave them to you. He turned as if to leave, but Jessica stopped him. Wait, she said. Tell her thank you for tea. Muffins, and maybe you can help me with something before you go. He hesitated, then nodded. What followed was unexpected. Jessica had planned to move a heavy plant stand from the living room to th. I heard Caleb barged in the other day, she said, laughing. He was mortified. Told me about 10 times he thought you said come in. Jessica chuckled. No harm done, just a misunderstanding, but the conversation lingered in her mind. It wasn't just about Caleb walking in. It was the reminder that small boundaries could be crossed without warning, even in the safest places. 2 weeks later, Jessica found herself at the Thompsons' backyard barbecue. The smell of grilled burgers filled the air, and laughter carried across the fence. Caleb was there helping his dad flip burgers, and when he saw Jessica, he gave a small sheepish wave. As the evening went on, Caleb wandered over holding 2 cans of soda. "Peace offering," he said with a grin. Jessica accepted the soda and smiled. "You're forgiven, but maybe next time, knock and wait for me to actually answer." "I will," he promised. That summer, their families grew closer. Caleb helped Jessica with yard work. She baked cookies for his baseball team, and Mark and Linda invited her to more get-togethers. The awkwardness of that morning eventually transformed into a shared inside joke. Months later, Jessica would tell the story at a neighborhood gathering. Everyone laughed. Especially Caleb, who had learned the valuable lesson of always waiting for a proper invitation before stepping inside. And Jessica learned something, too. Sometimes an unexpected moment can lead to surprising friendships and stronger community ties. Her little corner of Cedar Grove still felt peaceful and predictable. But now it was also warmer, filled with neighbors who weren't just people living nearby. They were friends who cared.